what was weird today? I was like this night. It was super cold, and then I've just like when I closed my window, it was like 20. Oh, whatever that is in Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It was warm. It was warm outside.
Yeah, in real temperature.
Okay. That was funny. I was just thinking about that, how that goes. Okay. Hey everyone, welcome to the Wano Report. We're back on schedule, and today again I have the great Mr Morj with me.
Hey guys.
How you doing? Yeah.
This is the great Mr. Morj.
Yes, and this week the great Mr. Morj is here. And this week we also have another chapter of One Piece, finally after the break is over. So we actually have stuff to talk about. We also have a lot of questions from you guys, even though we just posted them like 30 minutes before recording this. So chapeau.
I think that like saying this is last minute questions made people more incentivized to post the questions.
Like, oh shit, I got
gotta get
those questions out. I saw there was one guy who was actually like, if you're listening to this, I'm super happy that you're excited about the Wano Report, but you posted like 15 questions, and the chances that we pick one of those really go down significantly. You just keep posting them.
Well, we're definitely gonna pick one. We're definitely gonna pick at least one.
Okay.
Like, right? We can't just like skim over all of. Shouts to Shay GFI. We definitely got to take one of your questions.
I guess he just subscribed to you and like unsubscribed from me probably. It's like, dude, fuck Ohara. No, I'm never watching him again.
Ohara's Twitter account goes from 1,000 down to 999.
Exactly. So thanks a lot for all your questions. We're definitely going to go through those as well. Probably going to start out talking a bit about the chapter first and then get into the questions. Gonna have, a chill discussion hopefully today, and we hope you guys enjoy it. If you also want to post your questions for the podcast or have general feedback, follow us on Twitter. You can use the hashtag should we choose a hashtag if people want to talk about
I didn't know we're doing hashtags. Hashtag Wano Report. Yeah.
Hashtag Wano Report sounds good. Hashtag Wano Report if you wanna tweet about the podcast. We're gonna make that a thing now. You can post the questions. We're always asking for questions on Twitter, so follow us there to stay updated. If you haven't checked out Mr. Morj on his channel yet, make sure you do. He does amazing content. I like to think that our channels are kind of a nice, how can you say that? They kind of add up together nicely.
Yes.
So we cover different topics, but in some, I feel you get a nice overview over One Piece. So head over there, check out his videos, make sure to subscribe, say hi. And yeah, what do you think about the new chapter, Morj?
There's two sides of it, right? So the stuff that Orochi's up to, and then the fact that we're starting Oden's flashback, right? So what do we want to talk about first?
I'm so okay. Let's do the flashback later because I'm really excited about that. Yeah. But I feel if we start with the flashback now, we're not gonna get to it.
Yeah, true, fair.
Yeah, what do you think? What did you think about? In general, the chapter was kind of like
it was set up.
I feel like it was a step back in time, but still a setup for what happened in the chapter before.
Yeah, Oda likes to do
a little bit weirdly jumping through time. But what was your thought? Like, did it improve or did it meet your expectations for what was set up in the last chapter for Act 3?
So we knew that Orochi obviously did some terrible stuff, but like it seemed to be whatever he did didn't seem to be so bad as like he called down Kaido on everybody. So that did add up here. I think it was somewhere in the middle of basically it was significant enough that nobody can be saying, "Oh, this was totally insignificant," but it's also not so terrible that it's not something that the Alliance can quickly bounce back from. I know that's something that people were talking about. The ships being destroyed is a big deal. That's definitely a big deal. But beyond that, the bridges and stuff being destroyed, that's basically a hard inconvenience, is how I view it. So, and somebody was talking on Reddit, maybe, about how the bridges between territories are gone, but bridges to the Flower Capital must still be open. Right. So that still leaves them open to having an avenue of basically getting to the Flower Capital and making their way over there somehow through there.
Yeah, I mean, we also had, in the chapter before that, we had the scene where I personally believe we saw at least Usopp on that wagon.
Oh, yeah.
So, if Orochi actually left the bridges towards the Flower Capital, I think it was Ringo and from Curry, like those were left undestroyed, or at least it was implied that they were not destroyed. So that would make sense, maybe that the Straw Hats were funneled through the Flower Capital. I was also surprised that Orochi's conclusion was, I'm just gonna like make it impossible for the army to reach Onigashima. But then he left the flower capital unchecked and still took his army to Onigashima. So he must be confident that the army, like the alliance, is unable to, like, maybe either he doesn't know how many people there actually are in the alliance, or he is just simply confident that whoever remains on Wano mainland is strong enough to take them.
You got Kyoshiro. Kyoshiro sitting there. And we saw at least Zoro couldn't get past Kyoshiro easily, for example, so... Or maybe he can't even get past Kyoshiro. We don't know yet, but...
That's true.
Like, it makes sense that Orochi would have such confidence in that dude.
For sure. What I would like your opinion about is... Because I was a little bit confused by how... Okay, so I think we talked about at length how it's weird that some information goes to Orochi, some goes to Kaido, and then, like, there seems to be, like, a lack of communication between the two of them.
Yes.
Because some things only Orochi knows, some things only Kaido knows. And it's, like, with the trader, it's kind of weird. Like,
yeah, it's
like if there's one trader, or if there's two, and one is, like, talking to Orochi, one is talking to Kaido, right? So what I was wondering is, how... First of all, do you think the Sunny was destroyed? And secondly, how do you think they knew where the Sunny was? Because... I feel that should be very sensitive information, in my opinion.
Okay, so with the trader, I still feel like there is only one trader, and that is going mostly to Orochi. I don't know how much we've gotten so far of like, Kaido having inside information. He's kind of been above it all. Kaido doesn't even know that Udon's been taken over, and Queen's just been sitting at Onigashima. So I still feel like that's the case, but... So where the Sunny is... I feel like the Straw Hats would have shared that with other members of the Alliance, like the general plan that, okay, so we've got Sunny docked somewhere around... I'm looking at the chapter right now, actually, so they might have just told him at some point, yeah, we got Sunny docked at Kuri Beach, and it was just a matter of these flying things finding it. So that might be the case. And then at the same time, I don't know, I just get the sense that the trader is mostly... in cahoots with Orochi, and that's the direction that the information travels.
Well, the only thing that is confusing to me then is why Jack knew. Like, why was it Jack that went to Sunisha? So that was a little bit confusing. Like,
shoot, yeah,
that's
never mind.
Like this kind of inconsistency, that I'm confused with.
Okay, well, it depends. It depends on if,
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was Kaido, right, who actually knew that Kinemon and Momo were alive, right? Like, he was the one, chasing them, basically, after they left Wano.
Right.
And Orochi didn't actually know
that they were
survived.
back. Yeah.
At least it's implied that he kind of suspected it, so maybe, like, Kaido dropped something, like, some information, like, oh, yeah, you should be careful, or something like that. But it didn't seem like he actually knew they were back until he got, like, the intel on that.
This is a weird situation, honestly. I do actually want this pretty cleared up at this point, because now, I didn't think about the previous stuff from Zo. Like, Kaido did seem confident, and Doflamingo had captured Kanjuro, right? So Kaido would have inside information. I guess I'd have to go read everything that Orochi has said so far, because it's to get the sense of, like, how confident is Orochi? Like, does he seem certain that all these samurai have made their return, or is he more so just, pretty sure that all the samurai have made their return? I don't know. It does seem a little inconsistent there. I hadn't thought about that up to this point.
Exactly. So that's a little bit where my idea comes from. That there's there's the trader that, like, funnels information. Like, okay. Well, I feel like there might be two systems with Kaido and Orochi. At least I feel that's what's implied. That there's someone funneling information to Kaido, and there's someone funneling information to Orochi, and, like, one of the two might be a bigger deal, quote unquote. Or it might be that there's, like, some lack of communication between Kaido and Orochi, but, like, one is getting information from the other without the other knowing.
What's
like that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That Kaido has a spy with Orochi, or the other way around?
I wonder if now I'm thinking, basically, because this was a while back, I was thinking, like, does Kaido have reasons maybe for wanting to get Momo to himself, or, like, get get the samurai captured for himself. Because one thing I'm wondering is, so the scabbards knew to a degree. Oh, sorry, Inzo. They were talking about basically why Kaido was chasing them and stuff, and they were telling the Straw, it's like, oh, Oden had accompanied Roger to the final journey and everything like that. And then Luffy and them were asking, oh, so you guys know the secrets of the world? They're like, no, we don't. And then they said, oh, the Kazuki clan are the ones who created the poneglyphs. And then they were asking, oh, so Momo, you know how to read the poneglyphs, and Momo doesn't either. That information has been passed down. Maybe Kaido does think that the samurai from back then, he thinks maybe first of all that the scabbards might know what Oden knew. Right. And he might think that Momo knows how to read the poneglyphs because the Kazuki clan is famous for creating the poneglyphs. Right. So it's possible that Kaido had his own purposes for getting the samurai and Momo to himself. This is just me thinking of things right now, just tossing that around right now. So he has no interest in giving him over to Orochi or anything like that. And Orochi's coming to his own conclusions from his own information source that, oh, these guys are back and I want to kill them. That's my off the top of my head.
I actually didn't think about that. That's actually an interesting thought. I like that. Also, I just had to...
That'll be my headcanon for a little bit now. Yeah.
I just had to smirk a little because I was just thinking there's actually so much I want to talk about this chapter. I know some people weren't as happy about the chapter. I personally loved it if you watched my review. So there's actually a lot I want to talk to you about. And I'm just thinking we have to fit like some questions in somewhere. But we're going to manage that. So speaking of the Kazuki,
we'll get some questions.
Since you said that and it just popped up, okay, let's talk about the Oden flashback in general a little bit later. Mm-hmm. But before the flashback starts, we see basically Oden after the flashback happens, talking to Kinemon, saying that Wano was closed off because of the Kazuki clan, because of their role in history. Mm-hmm. We know the Kazuki made the poneglyphs, but do you have an idea what the reasoning might be to close off Wano to the world?
Dude, I got no good theories. Sorry for the viewers of the podcast, but I'm really I don't have a good idea for how Wano plays in, because Oda's been hyping up over and over Wano is so crucial to the world at large as history, but I just don't get it. People have been saying, oh, what if it's God Valley? I'm like, Wano's been around for 800 centuries or not centuries, 800 years at least or so, or I don't know, something like that. It's been around for a while. I don't know if it's God Valley.
I think it's implied that Wano has actually been closed off kind of since the Void Century.
Yeah, I think it's been closed off for a long, long time.
Exactly. So I'm just trying, I've been thinking what it might be, because obviously it makes sense to keep the knowledge about the poneglyphs hidden, that it's the Kazuki who can read them, and so on and so forth. But what does, because let's talk maybe a little bit, because I never think that I heard anyone really discussing what opening the borders of Wano means beyond, Luffy's gonna free them from the tyranny of Kaido. But we know there have been good shoguns, Oden's father, for example,
Oden's father.
who were and Wano was definitely, over the last 800 years, has been prospering and flourishing at certain times. So the question is, why did those people decide not to open the borders, and what would opening the borders really mean for the country? Because you can't, there's always been methods of getting into Wano. What, for me personally, I feel kind of like having the closed border policy rather implies people making it difficult for people to leave Wano, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. So
I mean, what's your idea? What do you think how will Wano be different politically after Luffy has freed it from Kaido, after the borders have been opened?
Dude, I mean, I think we talked a little bit about this on the Red Force podcast too, right? I think now that we saw how Wano's set up and it's literally raised above the ocean surface and everything like that, I do think that lots of times when Oda sets stuff up like that, it is ultimately going to be, there's going to be some sort of a literal effect to this where I don't know how, I can't begin to imagine how this physically happens, but could Wano not just politically be having its borders open, but the entire island sinking back into the sea, something along those lines, becoming part of the rest of the world? I don't know if that's the case, but I do feel that's just my assumption for the moment.
Okay.
I have no idea how it would happen. No idea, because
the premise would kind of be we have to close our country towards the world. So X that has to do with the Void Century doesn't happen.
Yes. No.
X being... No?
There was it was something along the lines of Ryuma way back when. It was like, it's multiple things, I guess. Like, they were saying that there was a period of time where Wano was a land of gold. I forgot about this stuff. Now that you're talking about it, I'm remembering. Right. Yeah, Wano was a land of gold, and then people were coming in and trying to take that gold, and then Ryuma messed everyone up so bad that no one came back to Wano. But I don't know if I don't know if they always wanted to be closed off and Ryuma just made it so that nobody went near them again.
Right.
Or was the island always raised from the sea? There's so many questions.
Reliable memory, Morj.
No, I had forgotten about this till you're raising these questions. I was like, oh wait, that was a thing.
You're right.
And that was a thing.
You're right. That's true. Yeah, there's a lot there. I feel like, Wano, I don't understand how people can't be excited about this arc.
Dude, I'm so excited for this backstory. I want to learn everything.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I'm super, super hyped up for all the battles we're gonna get. By the way, I love the Kabuto armors for Luffy, Chopper, and Brook. Yes. I thought that was, like, getting that was... I think I was celebrating that more than it deserved, probably, but I loved it. 100%.
Did you talk a lot about that in your review?
Yeah, okay. I was like, yes! So I really love, like, I'm looking forward to all the battles we're gonna get. I hope that all the Straw Hats, and I'm convinced, going on your theory, like you said, or it's not a theory, like on your analysis, that it's basically Wano being the culmination of the entire post-time skip.
I do think that that's the case, yeah.
I think that is the case. I think that's not even a theory. I think that's just a fact at this point. So and similar like in Alabasta, I feel that will also be the place where the Straw Hats will actually get significant fights.
Yes. I really hope so.
Post-time skip. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that 100%. But that being said, I feel there is so much lore in Wano.
Dude, so much.
That is, I'm okay, I don't want to compare it. I'm differently excited about the fights, but it's like the big thing I'm super excited about. Finding out more about the Void Century, finding out more about the poneglyphs, like all these things. Then of course we have the entire political issue around Kaido, around Big Mom, around like a lot. I'm sure it will not have been the last time that we've. Actually, I think we're gonna see Roger quite soon again if we get that.
Dude, in Oden's backstory, do you think?
Yeah, 100%. Whitebeard probably, right?
Dude, that'd be so cool.
So,
like, Wano has so much. Like, internally, Wano has so much history and stuff, and then that connects somehow externally to from everything we've been hearing. It somehow connects externally to the world. So, like, by the end of the arc, or even by the end of Oden's backstory, we should have like a totally different perspective on 100%. On everything that's happening.
And then, I don't know about you. I personally hope that I think Oden will be the most impactful or important backstory we're going to get, probably.
For sure.
But I still feel there's...
Maybe Roger's down the line. Maybe Roger's down the line. If we get a Roger backstory. Huh?
I meant like regarding Wano.
Sure. Oh, regarding Wano, yeah.
But I still feel there's room for like other flashbacks to still happen. I think Ryuma might still be...
Dude, at least... we're going to get a Ryuma flashback? That'd be so cool.
He's already been mentioned, so I feel... There is still something about Ryuma that we might see, and I really hope we see something in that regard. I mean, Toki might just get her relevance in the Oden flashback, but she might also get her own thing, because I feel...
Then that's the Void Century. That's so cool.
Yeah, well, I feel Toki herself is already such an impactful character, or set up to be such an impactful character, that I guess she could be merged into Oden, but I feel she also, if Oda wanted to, she could also be a significant, important character on her own, standalone. So that would be exciting. So there's so much I feel that we could still get. I'm really excited about that.
I know I made that thing saying that I think Wano's gonna be 200 chapters or whatever, but like, it's hard for me to imagine how Oda's gonna fit everything into this, because there's just so much that he has to cover. Like, and I still think people are underestimating how long Oden's backstory should be, because... So I made a video recently talking about, after that chapter came out, I was saying I think Oden's backstory could be 20 plus, 30 plus chapters or something along those lines. And people were saying, well, no, Robin's backstory was only like 8 chapters. Law's backstory was like 8 chapters, so I would expect something like... I'm like, that doesn't make any... That's not the same thing. Robin's backstory took place over... It was like one day showing her current situation, and then, life sucks for her and she meets Saul, and then the next day was the destruction of Ohara. That's like a 2-incident story. It's like a 2-day story. Like, Oden's story is starting with him, like, as this outcast kid. He has to meet 100%. All his scabbards, he has to meet his wife, he has to have his kids. Even if we skip the even if we skip that stuff for whatever reason, then he gets the Orochi betrayal, the attack of Kaido, his fight with Kaido, his execution. There's so much more stuff. Like,
father,
this is an entire story.
His
father, probably Yasue. Like, there's so much more in this story. I don't think people are, like, comparing it to Robin's makes no sense. Even Law's was like a really short storyline comparatively.
And I mean, even though both Law and Robin had like significant side characters that were like in their flashbacks that were like also, because for example Robin's flashback, like just having done the analysis of Aokiji and now Akainu, like those, like Ohara is like one of the central events for both of these characters. But then if you compare it to Oden, like the type of history and characters that are actually connected to his entire life,
dude, oh yeah, now that I think about
so much
like,
more grave.
If you think, like you're saying, like in Robin's backstory, there's maybe 2, besides Aokiji and Akainu, there's only like 2 or 3 important. Like there's Saul, there's her mom Ovia, and there's Professor Clover, right? Like those are the.
I guess
this one has the 9 scabbards, and it has Lady Toki, who's already been hyped up on her own.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Law had a little bit of like Doflamingo's backstory and Corazon, but that was.
It's mostly just like basically. It's such a smaller. Those are such smaller stories. Like Nami's just like Bellamere, Nojiko,
and obviously also with far less. Like they're way younger than Oden. Like Oden has an entire lifespan, and then, like, to be fair, Oden also has different. Okay, Aokiji and Akainu aren't small characters, but we're actually talking about like the important pirates of the last era that Oden has been in contact with.
Like Roger, and we're talking about Roger and Whitebeard. So
and being the head of the family that has passed down the knowledge about the poneglyphs and created the poneglyphs themselves. So there's a lot there.
I'm very also I legit think,
so excited. I'm just excited.
Dude, I legit think that we're gonna be just reading. Okay, there's one possibility that Oda splits it up into pieces. So if it's in pieces, then maybe we don't get it all now. But if we put it all together, it would feel really like reading like a whole
mini
like
story.
A mini epic inside the Wano arc itself. You know what I mean? Like just checking out of the current storyline and then just reading the adventures of Oden for a while and then coming back to the current storyline. I don't know if that's how it's going to be, but
I'm okay with both. I love the idea of just having Oden for half a year. I kind of want to get it.
I kind of want to see that.
At the same time, I'm also not mad if we get like chunks of like 2, 3, 4 chapters with battle in between, and during the battle things are discussed and revealed that are relevant to the flashbacks, and then more is revealed. So I also wouldn't mind that, to be fair, like getting a bit of action, then a bit of flashback, then a bit of action. So I would feel okay with that as well, I guess.
Depending on Oda's vision, if he does it really creatively, where like the chunks of Oden's story that we're getting are highly relevant, like idea-wise, to the beats of the Wano battle that we're seeing, that could be really, really cool, where it's like, maybe Oden's like leading up to Oden's loss to Kaido is right before Luffy beats Kaido or whatever, something along those lines. I don't know. It depends.
And especially I feel like no matter if we get the entire flashback or just a chunk of it, the end of it kind of has to lead us back to the 9 scabbards trying to invade Onigashima on their own. So there has to be kind of like the red thread that goes back to where we just started. Because I feel Oda made like putting the flashback at this point, I feel it seems very deliberate, right?
It's important because this is the first moment that the scabbards are getting emotional.
Exactly.
So, and I know people were complaining, or like even when we talked to like Eric and Christian, for example, last episode, like it was like, well, we don't know the scabbards well, so I think it is, and that's a fair complaint.
Right.
I've grown to like them overall. I think especially Kinemon, he was a gag character for so long, and now I respect him as a character. But 100%. To me it makes sense that at this moment where they're having their emotional stuff come into play, and like it seems like they're getting really. This is their dramatic moment. It seems like it makes sense that right now is when we get their flashback and we understand more who they are. And
then also, I was just thinking, like, because I was thinking back that we just recently actually got like the backstory with Kawamatsu and the fox, right?
Yes.
I'm like, why introduce? Why was he introduced? Where's he gonna like?
Wait,
where's that gonna come back
Gyukimaru?
in? No, yeah, Gyukimaru.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like he and like his ties to the Ringo. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's gonna be something related to Zoro, but like there's like these small side
so
stories
many
that we
little
kind of
pieces.
lose track of, and then we have an entire region of Ringo I think that has never been shown, like the one in the north. What is it? Northwest, on the top of the flower capital. That's on the border to Ringo and Udon.
Are you talking? Wait, at the top of the flat? Are you talking about the Mount Fuji?
No, I think that's in
in the flower capital.
right?
That's in the flower
capital. Wait,
capital.
let me check.
I'm not. No, I'd have to look at the Wano map again.
We have to get someone who pulls up stuff we want to look up.
Yes, somebody who they're not allowed to talk, but
who wants to be Jamie? Okay, it's Kibi. Okay, Kibi. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think we've ever seen Kibi before.
Let me see.
It's like there on like.
No,
on
yeah, you're right.
Have we ever been to Kibi?
Isn't that where it be? No, yeah, you're right. We've never been to. I'm gonna sound. Somebody in the comments is gonna correct me, and then I'm gonna seem stupid. But I don't think we've been to Kibi.
I don't think so.
Like, just backtracking real quick. Kuri spent a lot of time there. Udon, that's Luffy's prison stuff, and Big Mom walked through there.
We've also seen it like in the flashback with Oden and Yasu and Ringo, obviously the cemetery and the flower capital. But Kibi, I can't remember ever seeing.
I might be wrong. I think that Yasu led Zoro to Ebisu Town through Kibi. I think we had one chapter there because I feel like it was there at one point, but I don't know if that was the case.
Maybe.
But we haven't really been in that area much, like at all. So there's still stuff to be done there. I don't think we've had like an actual like
what is there
characters or story there.
Yeah.
Dude, actually, now that I'm thinking, okay, I still keep trying to see small things that suggest to me that like the Fire Festival won't succeed, or like this whole thing won't succeed. And by the way, for the record, if I'm wrong. Small things like Big Mom and second Yonko crew. But like it's fine to me if I'm wrong on that theory, that's fine to me. As long as the story's good. I've been saying that. I that's all I care about. I just want the story to be good. I don't care if I'm wrong about that. But one thing to me is that Mount Fuji seems like a significant location. I don't think it's just like a landmark that just exists there.
No, for sure.
So I do feel like we have to go there at some point in the story, 100%. Sooner or later, basically, and it might be an important point in the story.
Well,
yeah, that's
I know, for example, I think we also talked about it on the Red Force podcast, and I know that the idea wasn't as popular, but I personally still believe. I know they didn't like the idea of the fight slowing down, and then I think it was like the phrase Christian said like he doesn't like the idea of them like basically getting resources again and like preparing for another battle after the Fire Festival. I personally think that we are gonna get that anyway. Yeah,
I don't think it's a. Oh wait, you're saying like right now? Even
no, not right now. I think we're gonna get the battle in Onigashima. I think that's gonna be the local. I personally think that's gonna be the local Wano battle where we're gonna get Kaido and Big Mom, and that's like and the samurai. That's like the closed off our small Wano arc, Water 7 arc, like our small. Thing. And then that's gonna go one way or the other. It's not gonna be the resolution for either of the parties, in my opinion. It's not gonna be like Kaido. Obviously, it's not gonna be Kaido killing Luffy, whatever, and the story's over. And I also agree with you that I don't think that it's the Fire Festival, and then that's just like what everything's gonna happen. And then Kaido's defeated, and like Wano's over. I also don't see that. For me personally, I think that's gonna be the smaller battle, the local battle. That's going to end in some kind of small defeat for one of the two groups, but be not ultimate. Then we're going to go back to the mainland, going to have more, like, explore that a little more. It doesn't have to be as extensive as, like, an entire act again. It doesn't have to be Act 4 being completely only Wano again. But just exploring, like you say, Mount Fuji, maybe Kibi, like, regions like that. And then, me personally, that's going to be, like, I could imagine that as being comparative to Enies Lobby. Like, belonging to Wano, but then we're gonna have third parties like the Marines coming in, another Yonko, whoever, you know?
I like that. And I agree with that. Along the lines of like, oh, well, they have to go get resources and stuff again. But that only sounds boring if it's a rehash of the same thing. Like,
Exactly.
we gotta build the
Yeah.
ships from scratch. But, like, if resources are coming from, say, Grand Fleet arriving, that's interesting. If resources are saying coming from, like, allies from other countries coming, that's interesting.
Yep.
There's just a
Fleet,
lot
whatever.
of ways that you...
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways that can be spun to be really, really interesting.
Yeah,
And if, like,
100%.
new fighters are coming, like, from not just from the people who had the crest on their feet and stuff, but, like, all the people of Wano
Yep.
who up till now have stayed out of the fight, them joining the forces, that's also really interesting. So I just think that there's a lot more that can be done.
We just had Jinbei in this chapter not being there yet, Nekomamushi not being there yet. So there's...
I feel like those guys could make it and kind of be the bailout.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
for like here within the span of this day, I feel like they might be the bailout.
Was it you?
Guys,
who, like,
but I don't know.
Was you right on my... no, I think it was Revujo actually who commented on my chapter review that Jinbei has saved the Sunny again.
Again.
So shout out to Revujo for that theory. I actually like that. That would be fun.
Oh, quick! Jinbei's only job is to get people to
just save the Sunny. Just
Sunny.
save boats. That's
get Watatsumi. The Watatsumi's just always following the ship.
just popping up there. Wah! Swallowing the ship again. Like, okay. I'm gone.
All right. One thing real quick on that actually. And this is something that I said. I don't know if I'll put this up before this Wano report goes out, but I was saying it in my Patreon podcast, which is basically the ships being destroyed, right? So let's say hypothetically, maybe the Alliance found out about the fact that there's a mole among them who's feeding information to Orochi. Okay, let's say that as a hypothetical. Then the ships being destroyed, this entire time Frankie's been saying, we gotta make more ships than necessary. So maybe they figured out, when they realized, there's a mole or something, they intentionally left some of the extra ships there. You know what I'm getting at.
So they basically already took the ships they actually need. Because I was so confused by that, because apparently he was talking about 100,000 men, and then suddenly it was just 5,000 men. So at first it said...
I forget. That was some translation issues, I think.
Well, no, the translation issue was that instead of 10,000, Frankie actually said 100,000 men.
Oh,
that was the translation issue. But in this chapter, he was talking about 5,000 men, which is like a lot closer to the actual number of soldiers.
Yes, yeah.
So I was a little confused by that, but someone pointed out that what if, like you say, what if Frankie already knew that someone would leak the information about the ships and actually made the people... make a lot more ships than they actually needed,
deliberately
taking the necessary ships. Taking the necessary ships away, leaving all the rest as basically decoy in the harbor.
Interesting, dude. That's my theory going for the moment. Then basically, because like that's just
I like that.
Yeah, that also explains. I don't think that the Sunny's dead.
Oh,
so could he?
Come
like
on.
Frankie could whip up a fake Sunny in probably like 4 hours or something. Based on
not even a fake Sunny. I mean, it was stressed so hard when it was built that Adam wood is like this fabulous material that like is so much more durable. And I don't think that's super common knowledge that who actually knows that the Sunny is made out of Adam wood. Probably nobody except the Straw Hats and maybe like Frankie's dudes back in Water 7. So that's basically
they might not even have needed to do that. Yeah.
So maybe they were like, we're just gonna throw a bomb on there, but. Probably didn't do much. I mean,
the second Sunny destruction fake
having
out.
The thought. I also again shout out to whoever commented on my video, but someone was like, just imagine Luffy being there in front of the destroyed Sunny, Usopp crying, and Luffy being like, I want another ship again.
Oh boy, another ship.
Dopey.
Then there's an arc of Frankie leaving the crew because he's so mad. Sure. The Sunny was our knockout.
Okay, man.
Sunny's Clobbiterman comes out.
Right. Let's get a little bit into the questions.
Yeah.
Before we run out of time.
Oh shit! It's time flies 4:05. Yeah, let's speed run these questions like we sometimes have to, and this time we definitely have to.
Okay. Will Vegapunk come to Wano?
Wait. Can we get Shay GF let's start by getting one of Shay GFI's questions.
Oh yeah. Let's do that. Okay.
All right. I think you should be rewarded for.
We should. Yeah. Okay, you know what? Maybe we should make it a thing that like the quirkiest Twitter names get their questions picked. Just like for the fun of reading them out. I'm just kidding.
Man, but then some people would just. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Always funny.
Okay, I'm gonna pick a really quick one off of Sheiji-ifi's.
Yes.
Or actually, you pick because it's your host.
Oh, okay. No. Well, if you have it open, you read it because I have to look for him. First.
It's too late then. Do you think Act 2 is longer than necessary? Let's just go with the first one.
No.
I don't think so.
Not. I really enjoyed Act 2. I think that was a great act, no?
I would have actually liked...
more.
Look, as long as the payoff is worth it in the end and everything, I would have rather Oda taken actually a little more time to do everything. Like, some stuff, like shooting Maru's flashback, I think that it should have just been a full chapter, similar to Kawamatsu's. I think, like, Law and Shinobu's confrontation should have been a full scene, maybe not a full chapter and stuff.
Right.
And I think we could have gotten the rest of Sanji versus Page 1. So I would have actually been totally fine with Act 2 being, I don't care how long it takes, as long as, like, the story is...
makes sense. And
really good by the end.
I have one question here. Do you guys think that the rest of the Straw Hat group, besides the big three, will learn some type of haki or power up in general during Wano? I kind of like that question. I'm usually not that into fighting, but I think that's cool.
I'm down.
What do you think?
I do like those type of, like, I still like, for the record, I like power scaling and, like, theorizing about fights and stuff. I just know that that's not my audience's full thing, so I just try and stray away from it as much as possible. Well, one day I'll make, like, a gigantic Morj power scaling video and
just,
lose, like, half my subs.
Out.
And then, lose half my subs, destroy my rep, I'll just be like, alright, my channel's over.
Probably people are gonna be like, yeah, I've always told you that Mr. Morj should do a power scaling video. I've always been for it.
I thought Mr. Morj was a pretty good YouTuber till he made that trash power scaling video. Now I know he knows nothing about One Piece. I'm like, alright.
Now I really want to see that video now.
Yeah.
50K
Oh yeah,
power scaling video.
What do you think about the? What do you think about the? That question.
The Haki. Okay, so at the moment, correct me if I'm wrong, we have Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, and Usopp with Haki confirmed at least. I personally believe that Brook has Haki. I'm not gonna get like super into detail why. I just think that he has some kind of Haki just based on his fights we've seen in Whole Cake Island. If he doesn't, I definitely want Brook to get Haki this arc. And I feel one of the girls should get Haki, and without disrespect to Nami, I feel with Zeus she already got like a significant power up recently.
Yeah.
So I feel Robin, also since she's the more physical fighter, would be the logical consequence for that. I'm not sure if Frankie is the type that would get Haki. I would probably not count on him. What do you think about Chopper, for example?
So like, I think in general, it's fine. Like the three, like you said, and then Usopp have Haki, obviously, and then from there down, like in my mind, it's kind of like who. So like, is Haki necessary to their strength progression? Kind of. So like, it really isn't for most of them unless they're fighting Logias, but there's no need to write them fighting like Logias are so few and far between, to be honest.
At
so
least,
like,
when we're talking about armament, but like maybe observation would be something different.
Yeah. So in that, so like Frankie, I agree because he has the ability. He can get stronger so easily based on just upgrading his arsenal, right? Like he has like unlimited growth potential in a way. I think Robin's got such a strong ability that she gets OP if she has Haki. So in my mind, it's like it's just easier if Oda kept building her devil
Robin
fruit
would she would already be super OP if she just used the devil fruit differently.
Used it better. Yeah. She just used it better. Like, look, I found a way to make a body clone. It's like, just pull out people's eyeballs or something.
Yeah,
like,
or just like make a hand around someone's heart or something.
Yeah, like what do you do? What are you doing?
Maybe that's too gross. I don't know.
Yeah. So, dude, even with Chopper, like, he has he can physically upgrade himself over and over, like, with Rumble Ball ability. Yep. So I agree with Brook. Yeah. I think Brook is one of those things where it's like, he's a pure, like, swordsman-style fighter. It makes sense to me that he would have Haki.
So I have one more comment on that. Oh, sorry, you finish.
I'll just say last thing. Nami, I actually think observation Haki might be up her alley because she's always been really, like, her
with
ability to pick up on weather and stuff like that. Yeah, that in a way, it depends, but I think she'd be fine without observation Haki. So that's my only thoughts.
Too. So I have one remark on that and one follow-up question. So the first would be, I don't need to see Chopper getting Haki, but I would be very disappointed if we don't see any plot related to Chopper developing Rumble Balls in an arc that is completely focused on Zone. Double Flukes.
100%. I really hope we do. It's like, if they found out he has Rumble Balls and like
Yes.
what it does for zone users, he becomes extra
like,
valuable.
That's like whatever YouTuber sees this video, sees this podcast. I have a free video for you. What happens if Kaido swallows a Rumble Ball?
What happens? It's usually a free video.
That's like
yeah.
like the clickbaity video of the year. So I give that free to whoever wants to do it first.
Dude, Monster Point Kaido. That'd be
Monster Point Kaido
like,
would
what
be
is
dope.
that?
I want to definitely want to see that because he's not strong enough yet. And the
Yeah,
follow-up question I have to this question. Sorry for everyone whose question get a little bit neglected, right? But I think that's actually an interesting question. What do you even think? Taking a Luffy because he already has gotten his armament upgrade and might get a Conqueror's upgrade. Do you think Sanji and Zoro will get a Haki upgrade?
Oh, for some reason I thought you were asking the chat, and I was like,
No,
well, they can't
sorry.
respond right now. But yeah,
Yeah, live chat on this video.
yeah, live chat. Why
The
don't we do
secret-
these live?
the secret
It'd be
live
fun.
chat.
Dude,
Yeah.
doing these live would be fun actually. Maybe we could try it at one point just to see. Maybe on my channel I might try it one
sure.
time. All right. What was this? Oh, yeah. Zoro and Sanji. I think definitely yes. It's hard to say definitely, obviously, but like I think yes. Especially with if the Fire Festival isn't the end point of the arc, then I think especially yes. For the longest time, I did think that this arc would be important for Zoro developing Conqueror's Haki, but we haven't had any of that so far.
Yeah,
And I do
there
think
was no foreshadowing really, right, to that.
Yeah, I just think that it makes sense that Zoro would have Conqueror's Haki, but I think it would be a jump if he suddenly developed that in the final battle, unless the final battle is
Right.
something way more than I expected. So I do think that these things, if we assume that the arc is longer than it seems so far,
Yeah.
which I'm assuming so far, then I definitely think that's the case.
Yeah.
Sanji, I think... I have a little theory about Sanji, his next Haki development
getting
that I want
Conqueror's Haki instead of Zoro.
No, I don't think he...
Fan base going crazy.
Even though your Conqueror's Haki is like he's already making fun of him for the bounty and stuff like that. If Sanji got Conqueror's Haki,
was
like,
hilarious. That would
Zoro
be
fans would
hilarious.
have an aneurysm.
That would be so good.
No, but I got a theory video I want to put out regarding Sanji.
I'm quitting One Piece.
Yeah,
This is not realistic.
Sanji becomes the world's strongest swordsman.
That's the breaking point.
All right, Sanji beats Mihawk.
That would be so. I would love it. I love it. Next
right,
video idea: make a video why Sanji is stronger than Mihawk.
Yeah, Sanji's stronger than Mihawk. Shit, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So I've got a little theory on Sanji. It's specifically around observation Haki upgrade.
Right.
I'm not getting into the whole Sanji having where his armament Haki's at the moment. He obviously has it. That's been commented multiple times. But like people have been saying, well, he doesn't have the black coating ability of it. I don't want to get into that. See, that's why I don't want to get into that because I know that there's like a lot of controversy. Well, just I guess first, what's your thoughts on that? Is black coating like specifically?
No,
like,
for
do you
me,
always use black coating on
I always took it that black was just a visualization for after Haki was revealed, to basically say now someone is using Haki.
Yeah.
Because if not, that would kind of imply that all the top tiers we've seen we have seen fighting before the time skip, like Kizaru versus Rayleigh, or the admirals fighting at Marineford, that would kind of imply they didn't use vulcanization.
So, I mean, there's two schools of thought. Like, some people are saying that pre-time skip, Oda just didn't show that, and then post-time skip, because Luffy couldn't see Haki or something along those lines. And then people say that, well, post-time skip, you can use Haki without the black stuff, but then just black stuff is like when it's extra
Hard.
extra layered or something like that. So I just don't want to... Hopefully we get some explanation of that, and I think at some point... I think especially with Sanji, that'll be a good way of finding out, kind of. Because at some point, we know he has armament Haki, that's confirmed.
Yeah.
And, like, I think the first time he gets an extended fight and we see whether he's using black coating or not, that probably tells us a lot about that answer. So I'm not interested in that right now. Next, let's do, like, 2 more questions if that's good with you, and then I gotta run.
Do you want to pick one? Sure,
I'll pick one.
You do one, I do one, that sounds good.
Okay. How about this? do you think we will see, or do you think Orochi will be strong?
I think Orochi might be. Okay, wow, this is a difficult question. I think he might be stronger than we think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay, so let me phrase it like this. I feel Oda hasn't revealed everything about Orochi yet that there is to reveal.
100%.
I'm just not sure if that is necessarily power related, or if it's knowledge, or like just scheming related. I think taking down Orochi will be a significant moment emotionally. So I also think it will be something important taking down Orochi, maybe Hiyori, but maybe also someone else. I guess right now I would go with there is more to Orochi than we think, but I don't think that it's strength related. Let's put it like that. What's your thought?
It's weird because Orochi, it's like, do you think, I think it comes down to who do you think beats him? Because it's like, do you think that this is the 9 Scabbards fight and maybe they're taking down Orochi, in which case... But then even if that's the case, like Inuarashi, Nekomamushi, and Shutenmaru, they're really, really strong. Like, they're all close to, like, around commander level. Like, just whatever you call commander level. That so, like, even in that case, for Orochi to be a good battle, he would have to be really, really strong. And then on the other hand, it's like, do you think Zoro will beat him? In which case, he still has to be really strong, but like... in fact, he has to be stronger if the 9 Scabbards all team up against him.
You know what I
Zoro.
think? You know what my issue with this question is? Is the fact that we don't even know how strong. Like we don't know most of the characters that we think have some significance in this fight. We actually don't know how strong they are. We don't. We haven't seen most of the Scabbards fight.
Yeah.
I
take most of the Scabbards as being not as strong as the big 3, like Inu, Neku, and Ashura Doji, basically.
But I mean, we don't even have to go as far as the 9 Scabbards. Like, just in the strong, we don't even know how strong Zoro is. Like, that's been a constant, like, it's been a point of debate for a reason. Like, Zoro might just, like, it might just be, fighting against Pika might just have been his level.
His peak, yeah.
Haha.
But yeah.
but he might be hiding some power we haven't seen yet. He might, or Oda might just decide, well, there is nothing secret to hide. He just has to develop now in Wano, or both.
Yeah.
So
I prefer. I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, we still have no idea how strong either Big Mom or Kaido truly are. We've seen them clash, but that was like kind of like saying hello.
We saw Luffy fight. Yeah.
Yeah, but then again, like both his clash with Big Mom and with Kaido was not really saying much, because with Big Mom that was interrupted immediately, and we know that Big Mom, like, that was nothing for Big Mom, and then with Kaido that was like a one shot. So we have never. I feel like I'm stressing that. I'm saying that quite often, like I'm almost like a broken record at this point. But I feel people keep forgetting that we have actually never seen a Yonko seriously fight apart from Whitebeard, who was super wrecked before he even started the fight, being super ill. Yeah.
It's basically what we're looking for is measuring sticks, which we don't have as much right now.
And that is why there's so much power scaling, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, like, so, by the way, when I do power scaling, at some point I want to do, like, a gigantic video on it. I'm waiting for more measuring sticks, because right now I feel like it's a lot based on assumptions. One really cool thing that I think Oda has set up, is, like, I think it's easier to do power scaling, I guess, when you have consistent measuring sticks. Right. So, like, one thing I think he set up is basically, we got to see Nekomamushi, Inuarashi, and Ashura Doji. I think Jack's very important, because we got to see Nekomamushi, Inuarashi, and Ashura Doji all fight against Jack, and they all had a portrayal of basically being, like, maybe just under Jack, kind of. You know what I mean? Like, they can... Yeah, they were just under Jack, and then Oda double confirmed by saying that Inuarashi and Shutenmaru are equal to each other, basically.
Right.
So that means that we've got 4 characters who we've got a very good measure of how they stack up against each other.
Right.
Which means that from now on, anytime we see one of those 4 fight, that tells us something. Like, not against each other. If we see Luffy versus Jack, that tells us a lot. If we see Jinbei versus Jack, that tells us.
That's a good point.
So that's what I'm waiting for a little bit. If we see Kyoshiro versus one of those 4, that tells us a lot. So... those are kind of the measuring sticks that have been set up.
But do you know, for example, just going back to the Whole Cake Island arc, apart from, like, even though we got such an extended fight between Luffy and Katakuri,
Yeah.
we still don't know clearly how strong Katakuri actually is. If that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Like, the only commander that we kind of know how strong he was Cracker, and even then, they were only able to take him out because they found out exactly his one weakness.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like, is Katakuri stronger than King? We don't know that. Like, we have to see a lot. Luffy has had the most fights, so, like, we can only use Luffy as our traveling measuring stick, kind of.
But it's
so that's how we gotta go off.
I don't even want to open that barrel, but
All
it's still unclear to what. I'm not doubting that Katakuri fought
you're saying
honorably
that, like,
to his fullest, but it's still clear to us that Katakuri most likely would have been able to kill Luffy in that fight if he actually had wanted to. I think we can agree.
I think
on that,
early
right?
on,
yes.
I think earlier on, yes. Like Luffy should have died earlier.
And also,
on
if he probably
Katakuri
wouldn't have injured himself, and then
yes,
at one point, I don't know how I feel about it, but I think we never talked about the fight actually. But at one point, I mean, basically when Katakuri starts injuring himself and basically saying he respects Luffy now, he kind of starts cheering for his opponent to take him down.
Yes. Here, okay, I'll just say this was my interpretation of the fight by the end of it. Katakuri did injure himself, but that's because Luffy took a bad injury or whatever. So I count that as kind of...
Yeah, it was honorable.
Yeah, so I view it as basically by the end of it, my interpretation was that they were equal and they could have both kept fighting. But what it came down to was willpower. And Katakuri asked Luffy, like, even after all this, are you going to come back and still try and fight? And then Luffy's answer was like, of course, like, despite everything that had gone on so far and, like, how, like, beaten down Luffy, like, how this had been dragging and dragging, Luffy's still saying, like, none of this has shaken him. He's still saying, like, of course, I'm going to basically beat you, I'm going to go beat Big Mom, and then I'm going to be Pirate King. Duh. Right. And then I think at that point, Katakuri kind of understood that, like, this dude is never going to stop. And at that point, like, it was kind of like Luffy's will to keep going was so strong, and Katakuri at that point didn't feel as strongly about stopping Luffy as the other way around. So then, it's not like he took the fall. I'm just saying that, like, they were both only standing through willpower at that point. They could have both probably kept going.
Yes. I agree with
and
that.
And it's just like, that's basically it.
I disagree with the motive. I personally think that Katakuri was actually at the end rooting for Luffy to take him down.
No, I agree. Well, not to take him down. I believe that he saw Luffy as someone who could take Big Mom down. Yeah, and I think that's why the question was centered around, like, one day will you come back to take down Big Mom? That was my takeaway from it.
Okay,
so,
I get that. Okay, so
along the same lines,
I'll pick a really easy final question for you that really fits nice into the discussion, and that is... Alejandro Russ is asking, do you think Katakuri will appear in Wano?
Oh, what a great segue.
I thought it was perfect. What a setup. That was all intentional.
I think no. I like Katakuri's character for a lot. I do think that we just closed... Like, to me, it would kind of be like, okay, if we had all that shit, like, of Alabasta and Crocodile went down, and then the very next arc he comes back.
Yeah.
All that shit with Lucci. Luffy finally beats him in the fight of his life, and then the very next arc he's back. I think Oda does like to pace out these, because these characters are such, like, monumental, milestones in Luffy's journey, just, like, casually bringing him back to, like, I think it's too quick. Like, Big Mom's here because she wasn't beaten by Luffy last, like, that's a carrying over plot thread. And I'm not saying that we won't see Katakuri for a bit, I just don't know if he's gonna be... Maybe something happens at Whole Cake Island with him or something along those lines. I don't know what the case is. That's just my feeling, but I wouldn't be surprised if Oda brings him back. That's just my gut feeling. It's like, when Luffy had this huge achievement of knocking this guy down, is he gonna be just appearing in the story again? Okay,
so here's my closing thought on that. I personally think that Katakuri has to be there when Big Mom's character arc is gonna be resolved. He's for me a big part of Big Mom making turnarounds in one way or the other. And
you're assuming the turnaround though.
Well, I'm not saying that Big Mom necessarily has to become friends with the Straw Hats. I definitely think everything around her, basically being a burden to her family and everything, and her past, like, that has to be resolved. All of that, because I feel that is definitely what Oda has set Big Mom up to be, right? Like someone who actually has good intentions, but kind of like lost the way and isn't actually aware of what's happening to herself. So I feel there has to be a resolution to that. I feel Big Mom's character arc is definitely going to end in something positive in some way or form. And like it might still involve her dying, possibly. It might involve her losing powers, whatever. It might involve her becoming allies with the Straw Hats, whatever. I don't know where Oda's taking it. I just feel has to be some resolve around the whole issue that we've been introduced to in Whole Cake Island. And I feel Katakuri, same as bless you.
Sorry, yeah.
Same as Pudding are like two very essential characters to her character arc. So I feel if Big Mom doesn't make it out of Wano or her arc ends in Wano, I feel Katakuri should be there to see that through. If Katakuri doesn't show up in Wano, I will, until I see it, not believe that Big Mom will go down or end in Wano in some way or form. Let's put it like that.
Okay.
And I mean,
I guess that's yeah.
What would support that? For example, your idea would be that Big Mom also carries over to Elbaf, which would be nice since it's been set up with her arc before. So that might be a thing, and then we see Katakuri again there, possibly.
Yeah. Well, I'm against Big Mom going to Elbaf, but
you think it's
I still think she. Huh? Yeah, I think it's chance. Like I think that she goes down here, but I think everybody views Big Mom differently. I just don't know, like. And I don't want to say something that, like, I realize is wrong later. I think I have to go back and, like, actually read everything, like, read some of Big Mom's important moments kind of to get... Because my concept of Big Mom kind of got thrown a little bit when we saw that the Olin form of her was actually sweet, right? Like, she actually wanted to... That threw off some of my thoughts about, like, what Big Mom's actual character is really like, and are we supposed to expect a character change or something like that later? That did open me up a little more to that possibility.
Right.
I still don't feel like it's weird. I think maybe it's a video topic or something at the in a later point, but I felt like the backstory that we got for Big Mom was something along... It was similar to, like, the Doflamingo backstory in that it helps us understand what makes this character so evil, like, what type of experiences create the monster that we see today. But it's not necessarily to make us believe that this character is going to change later, but rather just to help understand what makes them who they are. Right. That was my interpretation of Big Mom's backstory at the time. Like, she grew up as a child who got whatever she wanted all the time. So, I just don't know if, like, that's a character that we're supposed to expect, like, just gets her ass beat and she gets finally taught a lesson that she should have been taught, like, way, way back when she was younger.
Right.
Or if her mind is supposed to be open up to realize, like, that she's just been doing things wrong her entire life and that her actions have consequences. So, like, I just see different avenues. The Olin thing really changed my, like, perspective on her. I'm like, okay, maybe Oda is really setting her up for that. I just don't know.
I'm curious what's going to happen. Okay, man. I think let's wrap this up.
I think we're good for the moment.
I think that's a good time, about an hour. Busy people. Thanks so much, everyone, for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have questions for the next, if you want to participate in the questions for the next podcast, make sure to follow us on Twitter at @Morjman and at Ohara the Fox. Like I said, go make sure to check out Mr. Morj if you don't know him yet. If you have feedback for our podcast, maybe it's the first time, maybe you've been there from the start. If you like our podcast but feel some things could be improved, make sure to leave us some feedback in the comments below. We're super happy to make this a better experience for you as well. We're also constantly looking for better ways to improve this podcast in any way or form. So leave your wishes and recommendations down below. Otherwise, anything else you want to share? Or
no, that sounds good.
Awesome. Then, thanks so much for listening, and we hear you guys in the next podcast at Mr. Morj's channel.
Yep.
And otherwise, have a great week. Bye-bye.